Hey everybody, Nate Carter here with today's Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. Many years ago, when we were young and fit, my wife and I went on this incredible hike. That was a day-long hike. It was actually 4 smaller hikes, and each one stopped in a little town along the way. And the thing about this hike was that each portion of the hike got progressively harder as you traveled into more mountainous terrain. So that by the time you were in that 4th section of the hike, you were really hiking up and down some pretty steep hills, and you were exhausted. And the thing that happened was that along that last section of trail, we're exhausted. It's the end of the day. We're looking forward to just being done with our hike. And we got partway through that last section, and Melanie turned to me and said, "Something's wrong here. These turns that we're taking right now are not lining up with the map. I think we're on the wrong trail." And if you know me, I am terrible with maps, and I'll some other time tell you some funny stories about just how wrong I've gotten with maps. But I'm also stubborn, and I said, no, let's just keep going. We'll get there. And we went a little further, probably 10 or 15 minutes further, and Melanie said, "No, I think we're on the wrong trail. And you know what? You keep going if you want to, but I'm turning around and going back, and I'm going to try to find the right trail." And luckily, I was smart enough to go with my wife, and we both turned around. And sure enough, we had missed a fork in the road. I think probably what had happened was there was a sign that had fallen over, or we couldn't see, and we had gotten onto a trail that was much steeper and much higher elevation, and ended up actually being a much longer trail than what we were supposed to be on. And thankfully, my wife was wise enough to say, you know what, we need to turn around. Now, to take it a little bit more serious, in the last few years, I have been so grieved to see so many well-known leaders in the Christian community be exposed with really horrible sin in their lives, and have to step down from leadership because they were just living lifestyles that were so far against what God calls us to. And when that sin was exposed in their lives, suddenly they had to be out of ministry forever. And as we've been talking about this as a leadership team here at Cornerstone, we've been just talking about, what is it that takes you off of that the path that God wants for us? What is it? All of these leaders, I'm confident, started on the right path, wanting to honor God and live for Him in every way. But at some point, they missed the fork in the road, and they ended up on the trail they didn't want to be on. And before long, you're way off course. And that's the point where these leaders were found out and had to step down from ministry because they were way off course. How do you avoid getting off course? How do you avoid that fork in the road? And how do you even know that it's happened? Just like my wife and I on that hike, we ended up on the wrong trail, and at first we didn't even realize it. Well, I would say this. First of all, you keep your eyes on the map. You keep your eyes on the map that God has given to us to help us make sure that we are still on the right path that we're supposed to be on. We read His Word. We attend worship. We get involved in a small group. We keep our eyes on the map so that it becomes obvious when we are off course. And if you are not a good map reader, then you put yourself under the leadership of someone who can guide you back. And then the next thing that I would say is that when you find yourself on the wrong course, you have the courage to say, I'm going to turn back. And you don't keep going down, even if it's easy, even if you've been in a sinful lifestyle for a long time. You say, you know what? Even though I've got to walk pretty far back to get back onto the right path, I'm going to have the courage to turn around and do that, even if it means backstepping quite a bit. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Guys, we have to have the willingness to turn back even when we're on the path that we shouldn't be on, even if we've been on it for a long time. So if you find yourself on that path, I want to avail myself. You can talk to me about it. Talk to one of our pastors here at Cornerstone. We'd love to help you get back onto the right path, because God promises that He will hear from heaven. He will forgive our sin, and He will heal our land. He is willing to do that, but we have to be willing to turn. Hope that encourages you here today. Hope that gives you some courage to maybe turn around wherever you find yourself on the path and stay on the path that leads to Him. Keep your eyes on the map, and we'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.